What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi back with my man Eric Sheets Haber. We are here on a Monday, and it's kind of an interesting weekend. Hopefully, we will have MLB still going, but we're here to talk some NBA. I had sort of a mixed weekend. I had a good Saturday NBA on DraftKings and a bad Sunday on DraftKings on NBA. And I had a really good baseball day, and then I had a really bad baseball day. So I'm sort of just all over the place. Sheets, how have you been? How was your weekend? And
I had a good I texted you. I had a good what was it, Saturday, I think, on FanDuel. I got second in the one of the single entries.
Oh, that's right. That was sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, in the NBA, which was cool. I ended up with a Luka, AD, no, what was the one? No, it was the one. Yeah, no, it was the one with Lowry and OG Anunoby and all those guys when Lowry went off. Pretty low ownership, actually. That was my. I think that was the lineup that ended up doing it. But OG, that was. I remember you did really well with him last year a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I was a little bit mixed yesterday. NBA, I forgot how perfect you need to be and how many points you really need. So don't, for those of you that are like sweating, your stuff online, like don't let like the DraftKings app like get your hopes up too much when they give you that flame thing.
Yeah,
because like
you got a flame. It's like a perma.
Because a flame of 2 years ago is not a flame of today. Like if you don't have like 8x, I don't even want to see a flame on your freaking.
Well, it depends though a little bit on the slates, because
I guess
days we've had some actually lower scoring slates.
Right.
When you get Washington and Brooklyn, it's going to be pretty much, you're going to have a high scoring slate because everybody's so cheap that there's no way like five guys aren't going to crush from that game,
Right.
But as long as it stays close, which the way I made money the other day was fading Washington players because they got blown out and playing the guys who were off the bench. That's sort of an interesting strategy. We'll get into that as that game comes up today because I think we have some absolutely near lock plays that are not going to be that highly owned today.
Oh, I'm excited about it.
Not quite as much as our Lillard guy. How about our Lillard guy, by the way? What did I say coming into the thing? This guy, he's only averaging 55 fantasy points a game, so it's not like that crazy, but at his prices, obviously, it's been amazing. But man, what did he put up? Like 48 in the second half yesterday, fantasy point.
And the other thing, and this is not particularly relevant to content or analysis, but just more for sweating. When you have guys like that, don't get all whatever after the first half. I guess you could use this as a lesson. So let's say that you were the type that you wanted to do late swaps and to kind of like assess your lineups midway through and maybe like if you felt you were doing really poorly to just take like real home run long shots, no shot plays later. Some guys, like, you don't really want to worry too much about how they're doing in the first half. Like especially see a guy like Lillard, and we talked about this a lot last year. And guys like him, like Lillard, Zach LaVine. He's not playing anymore this year. Like Zach LaVine, Booker, guys like that. Like when those guys' teams are down by 20, like these players, like if they had second half DFS slates, that would be pretty cool. Like second half showdowns.
Did you read my tweet yesterday? I tweeted that yesterday.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, because I was all into the Damian Lillard at halftime. I just knew he was going to go off.
Right. That's the funniest thing because and the correlation's kind of cool too because if they're going to make up the 20 points, it's going to be because of him. And he's going to stay in for like, 24 minutes. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, and that's what happened. Exactly. It was incredible. It happened exactly that way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got an interesting slate today.
Sure.
I don't know. It's interesting. We'll get into it. We're going to skip the first game because we're not playing on FanDuel as much. And this video is probably going to come to you a little bit too late. But maybe we should just really quickly touch on it. Did you take a look at the Toronto-Miami game?
You know what? I did because you know what I did? I'm gonna share my screen. It's not going to have FanDuel on it. But I'm actually max entering that FanDuel thing because it's a $3 entry. And it's a $3 entry and they're paying a lot of money. So I already put in 150 dummy lineups in there. So I am gonna take a close look at the FanDuel. I actually went. It's funny for those of you that weren't a part of us when we did NBA before. Is we approach DraftKings a little differently when we do our slate reviews, like previews. Like DraftKings, we do kind of more game by game and kind of stacking things and figuring out what goes with what. And FanDuel, we kind of just more assess position by position because that's what you have to do on FanDuel because there's no multi-position eligibility. So I was actually, the way I was doing FanDuel, I was finished with center, power forward, and small forward before we started recording. So I literally haven't even looked at shooting guard and power point guard yet. So I will when we're done with this.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk a little real quickly. So in the first game, just on FanDuel, just because we are going to go game by game with the rest of them.
Okay.
Toronto, Miami. For me, the only interest I really have, especially in this game, is I wouldn't mind a Siakam or a Lowry, but I don't really think that you need to go there today. I think that they're fine. I just don't think that's what I'm going to do. Jay Crowder's not getting enough minutes. I just think this game is mostly a stay away. Jimmy Butler's fine. Bam Adebayo's fine. I think Butler would be one of those two is fine. I just don't have any real interest. I feel like we'll get into better plays throughout as we go through the slate, but certainly you can play your guy in a newbie again, I guess.
Yeah. The thing I found, I thought there was something interesting about the injury. We'll talk about that with Denver, I think. Because some guys that become in play if Jamal Murray is out would take away maybe some ownership from Siakam or something like that. I don't know. I haven't really finished with it. But Toronto, I like Powell, I guess. Siakam, like you said. Go back to Anunoby. Is it time for you? You're like the Marcus Gasol guy. Is it time to play Marcus Gasol or no?
I don't think it is yet. I don't think that he's playing the minutes where we're going to get enough out of him, especially on FanDuel, which is where you have to play him. So, because to use that center spot is pretty, I mean, we're going to get into some real good centers today, and I don't know that we'd want to play him over those guys. It's just such a – I think it's a stay away post personally mostly. I don't mind if you want to take a shot on any of the regular guys, but I wouldn't go to Gasol. It would be the regular guys in Miami, honestly, more than on – these are two good defensive teams. You're just arguing that maybe they could – maybe that Siakam is a little bit underpriced, I guess, or maybe Butler, but it's really reaching.
I don't know. I think that Bam can have a good game in this spot, so I think he could be kind of low owned too. He doesn't project all that great, which is good. It's the way you gotta look at the NBA nowadays.
Yeah.
But the guy that I want to just kind of get used to playing again and used to always throwing in my lineups, just because I'm just staring at it right now. You got to look for guys in the NBA, especially when you need to get 8x sometimes to win. Guys that may not have great medians, but have like really, really good upside. And if they get extra minutes, they'll shoot themselves into a good game. So I'm always going to have like a little bit of love for Jay Crowder. Now again, they announced he was starting, which kind of probably.
I don't want to play Jay Crowder, to be honest with you. I can jump on that one real quick because we were playing him when they were literally had three less wing players. He did play 29 minutes the other day, but I assume they're going to start giving more and more minutes to Iguodala. They've got all the young guys. I just think it's an extremely volatile situation with very limited upside.
Okay. All right. So that's really all I had from this game.
Yeah. But I do think there might be a slate at a different time, maybe a better matchup. It's more up-paced. Maybe, I mean, he is so cheap. I just think that, can we really even talk about Jay Crowder when we have Troy Brown at 4,500,
Well, we're going game by game. We'll see.
No, that's what I'm saying. But I'm looking at, how it goes with FanDuel. We have to look at positions, sort of like you mentioned. All right, well, let's move on to the main slate. What's the first one we want to get on, Denver?
So the first one we have is Denver OKC. And I guess what we'll do is I'll just kind of go over my favorite plays from this. I mean, it's got a 218. It's got a 218 total, which is certainly it's in the middle of the range. It's not the highest total, but it's not exactly the lowest either. I mean, it's whatever. I was looking for Shea to have kind of a good season or whatever you want to call this. I was looking for Shea to kind of make the most of the off time maybe, and because I just kind of like him as a player. I like his aggression and all. I like his aggression when he's aggressive. Let's put it that way. I was hoping to get more of that. So I guess he's kind of a decent upside play from Oklahoma City. Gallinari is just not my thing. Adams is, I guess, fine. Nerlens Noel, nothing that exciting on Oklahoma City. Denver's interesting because, I mean, so much of it hinges on Jamal Murray being out, which I presume he's going to be out.
We don't know yet.
Right.
I have him in some places. I've seen him out. Other places, I don't know.
So presuming he's out, I think that Jokic is obviously a tremendous play, regardless of whether Murray is in or out. It's going to be between him and Embiid at the top for where where you want to spend money, unless you want to play both of them. So Jokic is very, very good play. And then the other two guys are going to be, for me, are going to be Millsap and Michael Porter Jr. again. You know, I think they're both fine. They're both good value plays, and I've seen them both smash. So that's going to be where I'm going.
Yeah, I can get a little bit behind the Millsap and the Millsap and Porter long shot ideas, especially the Porter one. He didn't play very well the other day. He was also in foul trouble, and he just was making a lot of mistakes. They kept pulling him, but he still played 25 minutes, even with the 5 fouls that he had to come out at one point, I believe, for. I just think that, like, he also, if he plays well, he can put up like 40 fantasy points here. Now, there's other guys who are cheap and play similar positions, but he's a guy I don't mind taking shots on. Now, these are guys you don't want more than like 10 to 20% of at the most. I don't think that you want to go that high, but they're just, you know, long shot plays. I would include Steven Adams and Chris Paul in that. And then the only 3 guys to really prioritize for me in this game are Jokic, Shea, and Danilo. I think you're going to see a much more minutes out of Danilo tonight than you did the other day. This is not a good defensive matchup. I actually think this is the lowest total we've seen so far in the bubble. So I don't want to get too focused on this, but I do think that Shea's price stands out. Jokic, his price stands out, especially if Murray's out. They're going to have to use him to run all the offense. And then Gallinari is just, you know, you're getting 30 to 40 almost all the time. I just don't think that he had a good night the other night. And that's pretty rare for him to not hit like 30 fantasy points. It's pretty much his standard number. So those are the guys I sort of have some interest in. I wouldn't use them together. I'm certainly not looking at a game stack. If you want to go 1v1 with one of these guys in Jokic, that would be the way to do it to me.
All right, so next one I have, and again, this is just kind of a shell lineup that I put together just for the purpose of having this discussion. I'm going to probably try to tweak stuff along the way. So Indiana, Washington, this is, I presume, the biggest total on the slate. I mean, because Washington's playing. Actually, that's not true. I mean, like 3 of them are all right around. Actually, that's Memphis, New Orleans is the highest one by a lot. Actually, that's very interesting. But Indiana, Washington has got almost 230 total, as is the San Antonio Philly game. And I guess the big news coming out of the other day, or was yesterday, I forget, was T.J. Warren just going nuts. But the big news to worry about is whether Brogdon's going to play, I presume. If Brogdon does not play, then, you know, we're back to, maybe even if he does play, we're back to Aaron Holiday and Justin Holiday. Miles Turner, I think, looks like a good cheap play, regardless. And for me, I'm not. Look, you know me by now, and people that watch this know me by now. There's just literally zero chance I'm playing T.J. Warren off of a 55-point game or whatever. It's just not happening.
But nobody's playing it.
Okay.
And he has the best possible matchup in the history of sports, which is.
Yeah, I understand.
Well, I mean, so no, let's think about it for a second, because so I had the highest scoring in the 777 on Saturday. I had the highest scoring lineup without T.J. Warren in it, which so you can imagine I'm already frustrated a little bit with the T.J. Warren, especially because I usually play him, and I'm not really sure why I didn't include him, but I had a really nice lineup. I had literally the nuts non-T.J. Warren basically. But who's going to take, if there is no Brogdon, who's going to take all these shots? It's going to be between him and Aaron Holiday. I don't know, man. I'm interested in taking a shot there because literally I think he's going to be completely unowned on DraftKings. I don't know.
I don't think that's possible. I think that.
Look how many players we have on. Okay, we'll see. I don't know. So T.J. Warren or not, I'm sort of iffy on these guys. Like, I love the game, obviously, but I think they're going to have a ton of ownership. Miles Turner is obviously the priority play in the game. You get Miles Turner against this Washington defense and inside. It's just it feels easy, but I also feel like a little bit nervous about it. And there's other plays you can make, and I think that just because the ownership's going to be so high is why I'm a little bit nervous. And I want to see what happens with Brogdon. I really need to decide that. I can't decide on Aaron Holiday, who will definitely be in my lineups, in my main lineups, if there is no Brogdon. But if there is a Brogdon, I don't think I can go there. And then T.J. Warren, if there's no Brogdon, we need to wait on Brogdon in order to know that one. If we assume Brogdon's playing, I still have extreme interest in Turner, and I actually have interest in Brogdon. But I also, I don't want to worry about this game being a blowout. I just want to point out that we watched Washington look pretty okay against Brooklyn, who is their other G League team in the bubble. I don't know if I would trust that this game could get ugly. I just want to put that warning out there. So when you get high ownership in games that could get a little ugly, you might want to look to steer a little bit different. And that's why I'm sort of a little bit cautious. Because I feel that way about the Washington side too. I'm going to play a ton of Troy Brown no matter what. I actually like Troy Brown. He's actually a good basketball player. I'm going to play Rui Hachimura. But I don't know how much Ish I'm going to go to, and I'm not sure how much Thomas Bryant I'm going to go to at really high ownership at 6.3. So I'm sort of struggling a little bit with that one right now.
Yeah, I'm not playing Thomas Bryant off of that. Especially he'll be popular.
He'll be popular.
What's that?
Yeah, he'll be popular.
Yeah, I like the Rui Hachimura call. He's probably my favorite on this team. Go back to Troy Brown. Troy Brown's fine. I played him just a lot last year, and whenever I play him, I'm like, okay, he's fine. Now again, yesterday he was better than fine, to say the least.
Well, no, but he's usually playing with Bradley Beal and/or John Wall, though.
No. Well, that's not. When I played him, it was usually because those times where Beal was out, and I would try to fade that Jordan McRae and remember all that stuff. But I'm not an Ish Smith guy. I might go back again if you're looking for some pivot or something lower. Maybe I'll try Shabazz Napier again. He really hasn't been really done anything yet, but he always has upside if he gets his minutes. And it's blow out wrist or whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, I just want to point out that if this game stays close, I think Troy Brown. I don't think you can fade him and win, in my opinion.
He's like the go-to guy when
he absolutely is. He's 100%. He's their young guy. He's in his second year. He's the only guy they're trying to groom. They run all the offense through him. The only time he didn't play was when they were down by 1 million to Phoenix, and it's because Jerome Robinson was going off. Now they played them both together in the last game. He played 38 minutes yesterday, so you could argue that he could be a little tired. He's cheap. You could argue that Troy Brown. Okay, so this is going to sound crazy, and maybe this is not the right matchup. But I was saying this yesterday on my video. I said you could argue Troy Brown should be 7,500 or 8K versus Brooklyn. And he was 4,500. And he was 25% owned. And if people aren't going to go back to him today, I mean, if that in fact does happen, you can almost lock him in. There's just no way. I don't know how he doesn't get there, especially on FanDuel at 4,700. I really, really am having a hard time trying to figure out how to fade him. I'm going to need to dig further a little bit, but as of right now, I've been watching their games, and I just don't see how Troy Brown isn't the guy who's on the court for 35 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm doing so far decently in the NBA, and they only have how many games are they going to be playing?
8.
8 games, and then playoffs.
Yeah.
So they only have 50 games or whatever it is after all 50 days of slates, I guess, to have me lose all my money. But until then, I'm just not playing back-to-back guys off ceiling performances. I'm just it's just not in my blood. So I think that I would prefer Hachimura over Bryant and Troy Brown, and we'll just see what happens.
So if you're going to do that, I would just say that you should be looking at Shabazz Napier. I'm just going to throw out.
That's what I'm doing. That's why I put it. That's what I liked. I mean.
Oh, okay. There you go. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I liked. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a weird spot, but I just Troy Brown is really safe to me. But all right, let's move on to the next one because I don't think we're going to agree on that one. But
that's all right. It's
how are we supposed to do baseball lock when we got this incredible game that's going to be hard not to watch? This
Memphis. Well, whoever thought that Memphis New Orleans would be the game that
game of the year.
Well, you could help me with New Orleans because I have no idea what to do with them anymore. So what I do know what to do with is Memphis, right? And the funny thing is Memphis used to be the top. Man, it's so funny. I remember it was yesterday. At 12 slates in a row, I would look at Memphis. I would say everybody projects for shit, and we ended up playing them at low ownership and doing really well. Now they're all projecting really well. I guess because they're in this freaking matchup here.
They've tightened their rotations. They're playing playoff rotations because they're in a playoff hunt. So they're basically not playing as many guys. They're still playing a lot of guys. Like Grayson Allen's out there 20 minutes a night.
Oh, I know you would have been proud of me, and I might do the same thing today. Okay. So the other day, we were talking about Jaren Jackson Jr., right? And, he's probably like a lock, whatever it is. And then I said, well, if you don't like him, you could fade him maybe and play Brandon Clark. And I was going back and forth. I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I'll just play them both. And they both just went freaking off. Yeah. So that was fun. So I like the 4 guys above everybody. It's going to be the Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Dylan Brooks, and Brandon Clark. Again, I think they're all really good. I think they're all in play. I think they all have upside. And yeah, I mean, now I was wrong. You were dead right about one guy the other day who I didn't want to play, and you said, well, you may want to give this guy a shot. Didn't Valanciunas go off the other day? I couldn't imagine that to have been the case.
No. Why? I mean, well, actually, no. He didn't go. He did what he always does. He put up 25 fantasy
Then he
points.
fouled out or something.
No. Oh, he did get in foul trouble against Portland. Yeah, but he had 20
Okay.
fantasy points in the first quarter against Portland. I think he had 20 in the first quarter against San Antonio.
Oh, and then he faded away. I didn't even realize.
That's just what they do with him. They don't always. They don't play him. They never play him that many minutes. But and we mostly when we were playing him earlier this year was without Jaren Jackson in the lineup, and often without Jaren Jackson and Brandon Clark. So it was a little different. But I do think that he's a long shot play. I think that you want to treat this game as everybody's going to be fairly low owned, and it's
Really?
the highest. Yeah, because on the New Orleans side.
Well, yeah, we got to talk about that.
Nobody knows what to do with these guys, so that's what we have to try and embrace. So we've got to be overweight on every player on New Orleans who has.
All right. So wait. So let's start over. So in New Orleans, what are you projecting Zion for today as far as minutes go?
I think it would be in the low 20s at best. So I'm not going to play Zion.
Yeah. So with that, I have literally no idea what to do. So
Brandon Ingram is the number one play to me for them,
okay.
And Drew Holiday is just behind him. People are going to look at these last games. The problem with Holiday is, in the end, these prices are probably too expensive. But these guys are both 50-plus guys in this type of matchup anyway, I feel like, or at least they have that. They certainly have that upside. I would include Lonzo in that category too because of the pace of play. Although I like Lonzo better when he's just much better fantasy point wise when Zion's on the court. They play a different style. They play a little bit faster. So I do think we also want to get some exposure to JJ Redick just from a personal basketball standpoint. I don't understand why. I actually watched New Orleans play the first 2 games. I didn't think they were trying to win those games. I actually couldn't believe how poorly they played and how poorly they were coached.
Interesting.
I don't think that's true. I didn't. They're fighting for the playoffs, so you would think JJ Redick should get more minutes in this type of situation, and you wouldn't see so much of the E'Twaun Moore and Frank Jackson and all that stuff. And you could just, I don't know. It's just I don't know what they're doing. But I'm willing to embrace the variance, and this should be the highest, the more competitive game. And I don't know if it'll stay this way, but right now I don't have anybody projected on New Orleans at even 10% ownership. And
what's okay? So let's have some fun. So they're playing the playoffs and everybody's healthy.
Okay.
So New Orleans would probably trot out Lonzo, Drew Holiday, Ingram, Zion, and when they play Zion and probably Derek Favors together, right?
Yeah. But
then
Zion's only been playing 14 minutes though.
No, I mean if they were all healthy and they were going into the playoffs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What's wrong with him? Is he hurt?
They say conditioning coming back from things, which is weird.
Man, I mean, he's been out for 3 months.
One thing we can't do, though, we can't be those same white guys who blame the kid. It's always the coach's fault in this spot. This guy is not asking. He's not out of shape. He's not doing anything wrong. He's in phenomenal shape. And it always gets to be, this kid can't even play. He won't even do. It's always the coach's fault. That's the end of franchise.
Why is he not playing?
They're treating him with kid gloves. I mean, we just saw, what's it called? Look what happened to our buddy Jonathan Isaac yesterday. What a tragedy. He comes back. He does the whole standing, and he makes a nice speech, even though I'm forced the kneeling, and I don't agree with what his point was. I love that he made it.
Wait, what happened?
He said the whole thing. He said this whole thing about he wouldn't kneel because he didn't. He's big on the movement, but he didn't feel.
No, I understand it, but what happened? Did they bench him or something?
No, he tore his ACL yesterday.
Are you kidding?
Now he's out for a year plus, and may never have the career that he was going to have because of this stupid little bubble.
We just talked about this, right? That I was ready to play Isaac because the last time I played him, he was out after 30 seconds.
And you know what's crazy, Sheets? He played the one game he played where nobody owned him at 3,500. He still put up 30 fantasy points.
I feel terrible for him.
I feel horrible for the guy. I actually, it's a sad thing to happen to his career.
All right, so you're going to have to tell me who to play North. So Ingram and Redick, those are your 2 favorites, and Drew Holiday?
Ingram, Redick, Holiday, then Ball.
Yeah, I guess.
But Redick even is still a little bit of these are wild cards. I'm not going high on those guys. I will go higher on Ingram and Holiday because they're going to get a lot of usage in a really tight, up-paced game. So if it goes that way, that's who you want to try and stack with the other guys. I'm not usually a guy who plays as much Jaw just because I think that he's actually so high owned because of how incredibly fun he is to watch that he doesn't actually put up the numbers necessary to win slates often. But the other night, he in the fourth quarter, I think he scored like 30 of his 48 fantasy points against Portland. And he did the similar thing yesterday against San Antonio. He had about 20 of them in the fourth quarter. So the game's tight down the stretch.
In a weird way, I think he's kind of I don't know how to say this, but kind of like a safer play than an upside play because he doesn't really like to take over the game with respect to scoring too much. You know what I mean? He likes to he likes to manage the team. He likes to get his assists, which is obviously tremendous for a point guard to do. Sure. So he'll get his fantasy points eventually. You know what I mean? If he's not scoring, then he'll be distributing. But it's not like the game
feels triple doubly for him though to me. Like I feel like you're gonna see him out there rebounding. You're gonna see him getting the assists. Sort of like you're saying, you get the, he can do all the other things. He doesn't need to take over scoring wise. So I do like him. I just don't know that I'm gonna end up taking him at huge ownership. But I do think in my stacks, I can definitely get behind him. And I prefer Brandon Clark today to Jaren Jackson, even though I love Jaren Jackson in general. It worries me, you have the back-to-back for one thing. The guy, I would bet you $1 million Jaren Jackson fouls out of tonight's game. I'll bet you he does it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, he's always going to foul out.
Look at the bigs that they have that they're going to throw at him. When you have Zion and he's going to have to try and guard some Ingram, it's just going to be an ugly matchup for him a little bit. So that's just my personal take.
All right, so I might do the same thing. I might play some Brandon Clark, and I might play them both or something. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so San Antonio, Philadelphia is another one's kind of annoying. So big news. I like Joel Embiid in this game. So he's my favorite Sixer, and I have to say, I think he's my only Sixer. I don't
how low owned he was the other day.
Yeah. Well, who took all that center ownership? Jokic, right?
Jokic. I just played them both together though.
Okay. I'm on FanDuel. He wasn't all that hot on FanDuel either.
Yeah, FanDuel. Yeah. FanDuel. It was all Jokic,
I think. So I like Embiid. I at first glance, I didn't like anything else on the Sixers, and on San Antonio, do I really want to play freaking Jakob Poeltl? I mean, I don't know. Do I want to play any of these guys? Okay. My first thought is I don't want to play anybody.
So I'm just trying to figure out who's going to stay on the court with Embiid. So Poeltl might have higher minutes like tonight, but he also could get in foul trouble. I like Embiid too as a play. I think he's going to have lower ownership than he should. I actually like Ben Simmons a lot here. San Antonio has been playing faster. Their defense has not been good. I think he's interesting. I sort of like him in this new role that they've got. I'd like to see him initiating a little bit more, but I feel like he's kind of like a walking double-double, like a big double-double with some potential for assists. So I like him. I don't know how much I'll have him, but he is a guy I'll have some of. And then Josh Richardson, going to be playing like 30 minutes at 4.8. I'm open to him. I'm not like in love with the play. There's other value I think we can find. But like these Tobias Harris price, you just can't play these other guys at these prices. On the San Antonio side, I actually like DeJounte Murray. I think that he's a really strong play. He's been really, really good overall going back for a long time when in games where LaMarcus Aldridge doesn't play. They tend to use him a lot more. He put up 44 fantasy points yesterday against Memphis. I like him. I don't know if I'm going to load up on him, but I do think I'll have more than the field. I'll have more than the field of Derek White as well. They've been playing those guys together at times. I'm a little more nervous with Patty Mills being back in the rotation, so I'm not quite as into the other guys, but I'm willing to maybe take one more shot on. I mean, he's been fine for 3,500, but maybe an unowned Lonnie Walker at 4,400. I'm sort of talking myself into it a little bit. I don't love it, but in a large field GPP, it's okay.
Yeah, they could. I don't know. Just the Washington game and the Memphis game.
And I'll tell you, this is a hard slate.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, because you even get to this last game, and this last game isn't too exciting either. I mean, I don't know. So I like. Did I have any lineups with both these guys together? I may have.
Who?
You know what? It's so funny. The other day, I did some funny stuff I didn't usually do. Like I had a really good lineup with both Westbrook and Harden when they both went nuts in their first game. I think I may have had one with AD and LeBron too. It's probably not the.
I don't think it did. It must not have won very much though.
No. But I might. No. This one I didn't have LeBron and AD. No, this one I had AD with what's his name on the other side with Lowry and Anunoby and all them, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like AD probably a little bit better than LeBron, I suppose. AD's playing away from the basket a little more than I would have. I don't say what I would like, but I definitely noticed that in the minutes that I watched. Just throwing it out there, and nobody else for me on LA, Utah. All right, so we'll play Jordan Clarkson every day, I guess, and now he's playing against the Lakers, right? That's something.
Yeah, but we don't get the actual going back to Staples, but yeah, sure.
It's something.
Yeah.
And I guess Mitchell rates to be the best play. So I guess you could play him. I mean, is he going to be popular? I presume. I don't know.
I think the most popular is probably going to be Conley from there, but I think Mitchell's going to be right behind. They're going to be right neck and neck probably in the 30% range, I would imagine. Okay. But I'm sort of, so I want to point out that Gobert has not looked right at all. Okay. I'm not saying this is a Corona thing, but he doesn't look right. Okay. Obviously, they can't all be Corona, but what I would say, look at Westbrook. He's fine, but he's always fine. That guy, you could give that guy every kind of disease, and he'll just play right through it probably.
Well, we got much better centers to play anyway. So
yeah, we've got other. He's $7K though. It's just interesting at the price. So I guess the main plays are I'm gonna still have less than the field of Mitchell and Conley, although I probably will be.
Why not? Yeah.
I'm just fine with it. I don't really have a huge stake in it either way. These are good defensive teams, the Lakers especially. I know it sounds weird to say against Utah, but Clarkson is the guy. I probably want a little bit more Clarkson than I do the other guys, but not that much. I mean, I'm not in love with these guys tonight. I don't mind taking a shot on Gobert and Joe Ingles. Would prefer that on FanDuel for Ingles. And then I'm not really excited by the Lakers. Mostly, honestly, my favorite play on the Lakers is Kuzma. So.
Every time I freaking play Kuzma, I think I play Kuzma more than anybody. Every time I play him, what the feeling I always get? I always get this feeling that whenever LeBron passes him the ball, he better make that shot or he's just not getting it back for 5 shots.
I get that feeling too, as a Laker fan, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's absolutely. You're onto something with that.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but again, same thing. I mean, Danny Green can get hot. Kuzma can get hot. I think they're both fine, I suppose. The slate kind of sucks, no? I mean,
it's not that it sucks. I think that it's hard, which I think is really good, right? I
don't think you're going to need that many points, and that's famous last words.
Oh, that I think you're right about. I think you're not going to need as many points as you did yesterday, for sure. But I mean, again, if Washington does play in a tight, game with Indiana, maybe. This is not the same Indiana team, especially.
So you really get that sense that Troy Brown is basically the Jordan McRae of last year. You know what I mean?
He's way more.
When I meant when Beal was out, you know what I mean? When everything ran from McRae.
Sort of McRae. That really only happened once, I think, or maybe twice. But and that's only because he was the one who had the ball. Troy Brown is actually a guy they have interest in their developing.
Okay.
He's the one they want to put alongside Wall and Beal in the future. He was a first-round pick. This is not a nobody. So I'm not gonna say I'm gonna lock him in. I'll read my ownerships of players real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
To give some sort of an idea. I do have Troy Brown as the highest owned alongside of Miles Turner, but I'm gonna make Miles Turner a little bit less owned and make Troy Brown a little bit higher owned. I just think that the Miles Turner thing is a little bit. I think there's more variance here than we're treating it like there is, and he's going against a guy who just I don't know.
Wait, he's going to be really popular, you're saying?
Yeah. Because this matchup can't get better, really. I mean,
even with all that Embiid, Jokic ownership, I mean,
I don't think Embiid's going to have that much ownership.
Oh no? Oh, okay.
I hope he doesn't, because I kind of like Embiid. So I'm leaning a little bit towards. I do like Jokic a little bit. So I'm changing some of my ownerships as we speak here. Yeah, because I'm honestly a little bit more spread out than I want to be. I'm going to look more towards stacking that Memphis, New Orleans as sort of like my core, and then I can play even the chalky guys. Because if I stack that game, you're going to get low-owned exposure to the New Orleans side of it, especially. So I don't need to do too much too creatively, and I think that's the game you want to try to attack. So in terms of individual ownership, I do have Troy Brown significantly ahead of everybody else, followed by Turner, Jokic, Embiid, Bryant. I actually do have some interest in Ingram, Ja. I mean, these guys are all like in the 25 to 35% range. So I need to try and tighten up my ownership a little bit. And sorry not to give like better exact advice, but that's just sort of how I'm leaning this way. And I just think that all I can do is tell you what I'm doing. And the truth is I'm still scrambling a little bit on some of these spots. I don't love these individual plays as much as I did the past couple of days, but I do like that Memphis New Orleans spot.
Yeah, so I'm not playing. I don't know if that's decided. This is what I was going to do. Is I'm only playing like 10, 12 lineups of that on DraftKings, and I'm going to max enter on FanDuel just because it's $3. So that's what I'm going to do over there. So I got to do a little bit of work on all this, especially because that locks in the next hour and a half. I think that again, I guess my theme is, and my theme also for this whole bubble thing is again they're probably going to be, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, probably a decent amount of back-to-backs. I didn't check the schedule for sure.
Yeah, there are.
But you would imagine, and I wouldn't go too crazy chasing guys. And it's everything's like verbiage, right? So when one guy says chasing, somebody else says, well, why is it chasing? I don't mean chasing.
No, but I know what you mean.
I'm very cautious of players in basketball, football, baseball, hockey, life, horse racing in general, doing something, again, with very little rest, having done something really, really big, so it's, I just got to be careful with that. But again, as you mentioned, ownership kind of drives all that. And you tell me, like, take TJ Warren as an example, or Thomas Bryant, if you end up, Troy Brown, if you end up somehow with everybody thinking that way, like in golf, right? And say, oh, there's no way Daniel Berger's winning twice in a row. Like, there's no way that TJ Warren's putting up 55 points twice in a row. And yet still Brogdon is out, right? and he ends up 10% owned. Fact of the matter is that he just did score 55 points, and if Brogdon out, they're just going to feed him the ball. You know what I mean? So it's, again, ownership is really the great equalizer with all these discussions.
Yeah, absolutely. But I asked you, but in basketball, you do, you're going to play more chalk. I just want to remind everybody of that.
Yep.
And I do think you're making a great point about the back-to-backs, and I want to just touch on that real quick before we get out of here. I'm a little bit worried about it because I'm looking at, I think Utah played the back-to-back so far. I think it's the only team, and you could see that their players didn't play the minutes and mostly didn't have the production outside of one spot. So I'm wondering how teams are going to approach that in really not non-must-win games or anything, sort of just trying to figure yourself out. So I would, maybe in that argument, you'd want to stay away from some of these, the back-to-backs for the teams that don't really matter.
I'll tell you, came up freaking empty. Remember I told you that yesterday I had all those nut performers in the first game yesterday. What I needed is for freaking Sacramento to show up on the back-to-back at literally like 0% ownership.
Oh,
and they came up empty. And that's what happens sometimes.
No wonder you're so anti-back-to-back today.
Yeah, I didn't even think. If I remember, probably wouldn't play it yesterday. But it's not like Sacramento. It's not like those guys had a huge ceiling performances the night before either. They just kind of play. But all right, I guess that's about it, right?
Yeah, I think that's good stuff. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. For Sheets, I'm BobbyFi saying we will see you.
Bobby, hang in there for a second before you.
Okay, we got to come up with a better tagline sign off because we can't keep doing that. But Sheets, okay. For Sheets, I'm Bobby saying we'll see you guys tomorrow.